Friday, March 16th and Saturday, March 17th mark 2018's edition of Manitoba Metal Fest, brought to you by Ninja Cat Productions and the Park Theatre. This year's lineup features bands like our friends in Cancer Bats, a one-time only reunion show of Damascus, Waster, Inverted Serenity, Escape from Echo Base, and Malevolent Hand, and that's only the first day. On the Saturday, you have Demolition Hammer playing their first time ever in Winnipeg, Skeletal Remains, Endless Chaos, Untimely Demise, Skunk, and Rectify. So it's kind of an unwritten rule with this podcast that the only partners we work with for these promos at the beginning of the episodes are, organizations, venues, bands, labels, businesses, anything that I kind of personally promote and agree with and would like to support. And if you're a regular listener to the podcast, especially to the live episodes, you've probably heard me complaining or Ryan making fun of my old man knees. So basically, I have arthritis in my knees, and until now, I've never really had anything that will deal with the pain. A friend recommended that I try a CBD product on my knees. CBD is a non-psychoactive component of the cannabis or hemp plant. I tried it on my knees, and it was unbelievable. I can't say enough good things about how well this worked. As someone who does a lot of walking, especially outdoors in inclement weather in Winnipeg, it's night and day in terms of my ability to just go and do what I want, and without having to deal with any annoying aches and pains in my knees. So I'm very happy to bring on Low Cloud as the newest partner for Witchpolice Radio. Low Cloud Incorporated is Winnipeg's premier legal CBD online retailer. They carry a wide variety of products, from CBD oils to vitamins to pain relief to even skincare. They'll ship right to your door, no medical card or green card needed. You just have to be 18+. All of their products are derived from industrial hemp, and their products are rated top 3 in the world for purity, sitting at 99.9%. Check out their website lowcloud.ca for testimonials in their blog, for some great educational pieces, as well as their massive variety of products. They ship Canada-wide and also do local private delivery. Please use my code CBDWitch for 15% off your first order.
You're listening to Garbage Hill, Winnipeg's first podcast network.
Radio. I'm your regular host, Sam. Once again, I found myself in Rob's Donuts. This seems to be a thing lately. And I'm interviewing the filmmakers behind the upcoming movie Girls with Guitars. So just before we get started, let's go around the table, put a name to the voice so people listening can always talk. Let's start.
Okay, my name is Kaylin Hatterstruck.
I'm Cindy Folliard.
I'm Jenny Walkert.
Cool. And I've seen the trailer of the movie. I mean, obviously I haven't seen it yet because it's not out yet. And full disclosure, I'm in it. Hopefully briefly, but
you're in the whole thing.
Yeah. But I'm very excited to see the finished product. Based on the trailer and based on some of the people you have in the movie, it looks really cool. Especially as someone who's a huge nerd about local music. There's a lot of people whose music I really like in it, and people who I kind of want to hear what their take is. So I guess maybe to kind of frame it, how did this even come about? How did you end up starting to make this movie?
The idea actually came about, I want to say about 6 or 7 years ago. Really what happened was I was standing looking at a magazine, and it was called Girls with Guitars. And I was like, oh cool, being a guitarist.
Yeah, sure.
Like, oh, this is cool. Maybe there's a female musician that I haven't heard of before, and I'll discover something new. And all it was these women in lingerie holding guitars. So I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. And off the top of my head, I could think of 10 women in Winnipeg off the top of my head that'd be worthy of being in a Girls with Guitars magazine. In an actual magazine. So
you can only assume that they don't play these girls that were featured on top.
Yeah. Is this like one of those Guitar World things where it's like the issue where they're basically
they're naked?
Yeah, and they're showing off the guitar, and it's like, look, here's a model.
Yeah, exactly what it was.
Yeah. Victoria's Secret or something. Yeah.
So then that went from, I was volunteering for Shaw TV at the time, so I had this idea, and it was going to be a TV show that I was going to do a TV series on Girls with Guitars. Okay. It was going to feature a bunch of local female guitarists, and that didn't pan out, so then I kind of just left it for a couple of years, and then, one night I was over at Cindy's and just said, maybe I should just do a TV series, maybe I should just do a documentary instead, and she was totally on board with it, so then, that's just kind of how...
Okay. and then eventually
went into the other. Yeah.
ended up being a finished thing.
Yeah.
Had any of you had experience doing a documentary before?
Nope.
No. I just watch them.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
I've never used a camera in my life
Oh, really?
other than like
Okay.
a cell phone camera.
So how does that happen then? How do you go from not having any experience to being able to actually do that? Like, I mean, because there's a pretty big learning curve, right?
Yeah,
I mean, just
sure,
even
yeah.
with equipment, right? Just to,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess like I had a DSLR camera for a bit that I fiddled around with. I'd taken audio engineering, and for the longest time, I'm like, I really want to do the video side of it, and I really just didn't want to go back to school to do it. I'm a big believer of just jumping in
Right,
and
figuring
learning
out-
something.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I think that's the best way to learn. So, I kind of in the back of my head knew I wanted to learn it, and I just kind of dragged Cindy and Jenny with me. And
Yeah, we ended up watching a lot of like YouTube videos,
Yeah.
how-tos,
Okay.
lighting, sound,
Yeah.
etc.
That's crazy how much you can find,
Yeah,
yeah.
Lighting was a
totally. We
challenge.
learned.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I bet, yeah.
I
Lighting
picked
was
up
huge challenge.
a film school book for $1 at the thrift store,
Nice.
and it was everything you need to know without having to go to school. And yeah, just like a bunch of YouTube videos were lifesavers,
Yeah.
and just experimenting. And we
Yeah.
practiced. I think we must have done at least 3 or 4 mock
Yeah.
interviews.
Okay. Yeah.
Just to kind of get a feel, and to also know what it's like to have the lights on you and be questioned and
Sure, yeah.
sweating while you're
Yeah,
people are asking you
be
questions.
empathetic towards somebody
Yeah,
who's like
yeah.
on the spot.
Yeah.
Right, and I guess it's like if it's just the 2 or 3 of you there, it's still a little more comfortable, right? Because you,
Yeah.
you already know each other and everything.
Exactly.
But even the interview stuff, I mean, that's a skill that you have to kind of, you can't just jump into it, right? Knowing how to talk to people, knowing what to ask them. I mean, I'm sure there's things you want to know with various subjects, but kind of learning how to get the right answers out of them.
Yeah.
Just the question, that's...
Well, I think
whole
that
other-
I think that one thing that we had, at least myself, like I, was a manager at a place, so I'd interview people for jobs.
Right, okay.
That's like kind of like similar.
Yeah.
And then when you want to build a story, you try and get like the questions that you want out of people without leading them,
Yep.
and then just take it from there. We may not have done it right, but it looks good to us.
I found for me a lot of these women I'd only ever seen on stage.
Sure.
So it was super exciting, I found, to ask them the questions like, so what's this like and what's that like?
Yeah.
Write
Yeah.
your song. So it was really exciting to ask the questions I didn't feel uncomfortable at all asking. And you got to learn something new about them.
Sure.
It's really cool.
I think that's actually maybe a good way to go into it, is to go in as a fan, and because you actually have things you want to know,
Yeah.
rather than just like, okay, what do I got to ask them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do.
If you want to know something yourself, it's going to be interesting, and for the person too, right? Because
Yeah.
they're going to be engaged in what you're saying, rather than just okay, what happened?
There was a ton of research
Oh, I bet, yeah.
before
Yeah.
even like how we structured the questions. Like there was just tons and tons of research, and kind of went into like a big rabbit hole, and that really helped develop the questions that we were going to ask.
Okay.
But I think we asked pretty much all the people featured got very similar questions, and it was interesting to see the different responses
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
that people would give. So
There were at least 20, 30 questions too.
yeah.
About themselves and then their opinions on things.
Yeah.
So we had quite a few drafts too.
Yeah.
A couple of revisions.
Yeah.
So how did you go from having the idea and from watching YouTube videos and equipment to actually deciding, who you're going to interview and what sort of direction you wanted the story to go? Was there sort of a wish list of people you wanted to have from the beginning?
Yes.
I think even before we went in and pitched to MTS to get, when we got the grant,
Right.
already had an idea of the people that were going to be involved.
Okay.
And we were already thinking if we didn't win, if we were going to still continue doing it. And it was absolutely, we were going to go through with it.
Cool,
So
cool.
it just really helped that MTS was there to do it. But,
Yeah, of course. Because this is something that people do know. I mean, not necessarily a documentary, but just because there's so much access to equipment and resources, anyone can just pull out a phone and make a movie about something. So yeah, that's having the actual equipment and someone actually backing it to want to release it.
Yeah.
is great. Yeah.
And I remember going to like Winnipeg Film Group, and they had like not a panel discussion, but like an open discussion talking about like filming and what have you. And
Yeah.
they were advocating using your iPhone and just you turn it this way,
Yeah.
like lengthwise, and you can actually film off of it because everything's in HD and
Yeah.
4K now.
It's crazy.
So you can actually film with it. So
Yeah.
For sure. Well, like I make some videos in my day job, and most of them are just done on a DSLR.
Yeah.
And it's like with just a little mic on top, and there goes on the internet. Basically, advertising. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Obviously
it's very accessible now. So
Did you the people that you interviewed and the people on your wish list, were they people you mostly knew ahead of time, or just like you were saying that most of them were people you just seen on stage? But did any of you sort of have an in with some of the main subjects of the film, or?
Not really. I mean, like before when I was trying to make it a TV series with Shaw, like Joanne, I think I interviewed her a couple times. I think I interviewed Alana like 3 times.
Okay.
So this third time around, I was almost hesitant that they were going to say no. So like, oh God, you again? Like, haven't we done this before? So I guess kind of knew them from that, but also just shows, just seeing them at shows, but never really had the opportunity to sit and talk with them. So it was nice, and they opened their home to us.
Yeah, for sure.
Let us come in there and set up all our gear, move things around.
Yeah. Can we just rearrange your entire living room?
Yeah.
Amanda's one of my close friends and bandmates, so that was easy.
Okay.
Yeah. She literally lives half a block away from Kaylin here, so it was really, really.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. But other than that, I think everybody else was fairly you know of them, but you don't know them on a personal basis, which was also really great to get to know them because then you're like, oh my God, like I want to be your friend now. Yeah.
We just do one sometime.
Well, the local scene is so incestuous too. Everyone's in each other's bands that it's like, if you don't know someone, you kind of know them.
Yeah, totally.
You've seen them play, or you've seen their friends play.
Yeah.
You were in a band with their guitars or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Was there? The girls with guitars thing. Why guitar specifically? There's a lot of women in bands locally, playing drums, playing keyboards, whatever. What was the reason for guitar being focused? Just the magazine thing that twigged it, or?
Yeah, and I think also because we're kind of biased because we're all guitars.
Right.
So it's just an instrument that we related to, but also like some of the personal experiences that came along with that.
Okay.
I think the conversation started to come out when you actually talk about things like, hey, has anyone ever said to you like you're pretty good for a girl? Like, has that ever bothered you? And then people start going, oh my God, yes. And they actually start talking about it. So then you're like, okay, I'm not crazy. So this does kind of bother me.
Right.
Or have you ever been denied entry to a venue?
Yeah.
Thinking that you're just carrying equipment.
Right.
So yes, you have to pay cover.
Yeah. So then there are kind of these things that girls experience, but they don't really want to talk about it. But then when you start talking about it, then
amongst yourselves, right? It comes out more.
Or we start talking about even when the idea came around, it was just Jen, Cindy, and I, and then Jen would talk to Amanda about it. She'd be like, oh my God, yes, this happens to me too.
Right.
And then you realize that it's actually happening on a bigger scale. So, so a lot of it was based on personal experience and just like things that we experienced being in bands.
Okay.
So just kind of the curiosity as if this is happening to more than one woman.
Right.
Is this a universal thing that's kind of happening? And how can we move past it? So.
And it's obviously something that a lot of men in bands probably don't even. I played in bands. It's never happened to me, and it never occurred to me that would happen. Right? It's just like, oh, here's my stuff. I'm bringing it here.
So. I think that's actually touched on in the film as well.
Yeah.
That it's kind of overlooked for us.
Yeah. By no means do we want these situations to intimidate women from joining bands. Just work together, get through it.
Yeah.
Stand up for yourself.
For sure.
That's kind of what we're trying to say here.
did like the answers people gave, did that sort of dictate the direction it went for the next interview? Like, I mean, if someone would give you a really interesting answer on a certain subject maybe you hadn't thought of, did that influence how you would ask the questions for the next ones, or was it mostly sticking with the same topics?
We would add and subtract some questions sometimes.
Okay.
Depending on how fatigued they looked.
Yeah.
At the end of it.
And again, that's our learning curve, right?
Yeah.
Like when we had to like scale back because we're like, hey, this is actually a little too much.
Yeah.
Like, do any questions for
They
these
can barely
people?
keep their eyes
Yeah.
open. We're hounding them too much.
Yeah. But for the most part, I think everything was fairly standard except for when we'd scale back. And then if something was like there was a couple questions that were almost like too intense.
Okay.
We just totally deleted them out of there because it was like, no, that's not even gonna
It's a film in itself, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there enough, like you probably have a ton of extra footage that didn't make the cut, right? Is there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's tons. Like, I think there's...
Special features in the DVD?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would
totally.
be a good idea, yeah.
Because there was 10 women
Yeah.
that were interviewed,
Yeah.
plus, yourself,
Yeah.
and then
Three other
a
guys
couple,
too, right?
a couple extra people, and it was important for us to not just solely feature women in the film,
Sure.
because we wanted it to be, we just didn't want it to be all women, because we wanted to show that there was support
Right.
from men as well.
Right.
We didn't want it to be just like one direction. We wanted to show that, it's like other people are supportive of it too. It's not just
Sure.
women.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I think that there's been a few documentaries, not just about Winnipeg music scene, but a lot of sort of smaller scale documentaries about pockets of music scenes in different cities and stuff. And I think this is, it's a different angle just based on the focus of it. I mean, a lot of them will have women in it,
Yeah.
and there'll be interviews with, this female musician and then 3 other guys or whatever. But yeah, this is definitely, I think, a unique take on it. Have you seen other documentaries that kind of go the same way, or is this, as far as you know, something fairly unique?
I think there was one that came out more recently that I saw that CBC had released. They released the trailer of it, and it wasn't specifically female guitarists, but it was about women in music. So
Okay.
this seems to be, I guess, more women are just speaking out about it. So
Yeah.
it's all coming out at the right time.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah.
it's kind of right on par with that. And I think there was another similar documentary about female guitarists, but it's on a much larger scale.
Right.
Women
Like
in
much higher
rock,
profile.
yeah, like in rock bands and what have you, and discovered that afterwards. And
Yeah.
look, there's another.
This is totally like off topic, but like, did you guys watch the Golden Globes at all?
I didn't know. I
No,
don't have cable.
yeah, well, they're just like, it's very focused on, like, there's this, like, not the Me Too campaign, but The Time Is Now, I think it's called. Basically, it's ending, like harassment for women in
Right.
the workplace and stuff like that. And I was like, it's like, women power.
Yeah, it's definitely going that way. Like
Yeah.
people are speaking up more, and they're finding their voice, and they're breaking down barriers.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of women felt there was like a lot of barriers for a really long time, and especially in the music industry. I mean, like, the higher up you go, the harder it gets.
I bet, yeah.
I mean, locally, I think we're really lucky here because we have like an insanely supportive scene.
Yeah.
We do. You will hear the odd thing, but I think.
Yeah, there's scumbags never seen, I think. But Winnipeg,
Yeah.
generally.
And a good
Those
mixture of people, so
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely a good cultural moment, like, for this to come out in, because these issues are being talked about, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everywhere, so it's, I'm assuming you didn't time it for that. Like, it wasn't,
No.
it just sort of happened, right? I mean,
Yeah. It was organic.
yeah,
good.
yeah. Because I mean, like, it was like 3 years ago that we first started the idea, so it's been 3 years since.
It's been a fun
since it
3
came out.
years.
And it has. It is very sad to kind of see it.
It is.
almost come to an end. It's
But
like
isn't it nice to get it, like, the fact that people are going to see it now?
Yeah.
Like, to be out in the world. and
That's
people are
so
gonna-
pumped.
That's
So
a
pumped.
huge relief, and it's a lot of excitement all
Yeah.
at once too. Like, I went out on the Friday night that the trailer came out, and every single person I saw, even whether I'd just known them from playing shows or
Yeah,
friends of mine, they couldn't stop talking about. They're so excited
Cool,
to see it.
cool.
I'm like, well, that's good,
it's terrifying too, because I mean, it is like our first film.
Yeah.
And, people are always going to have their judgments and what have you.
Yeah.
And, you try not to let it get to you. But
Not everyone's gonna like it.
yeah. I mean, it's not
That's
for
fine.
everyone, but maybe a big chunk of people will like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. And hopefully those people will dig into some of the artists that are on there, too, and, like,
Yeah.
check out their music and back catalog and stuff.
Of course, the more support, the better for the musicians.
For sure, yeah.
And not to mention just the educational side of, like, people learning, like, what you should and shouldn't say to
Sure,
Almost
yeah.
like show etiquette.
Yeah.
Show etiquette for women.
Yeah.
Like it's not like some things aren't a compliment. You might think they're a compliment. They're kind of like backhanded compliments that you might tell a woman, like,
Yeah.
you know, saying you're pretty good for a girl is kind of like a backhanded
Yeah,
compliment.
it's kind of a
to woman.
shitty thing.
or even the simple thing of like, I just didn't know what to expect when you came on,
Right.
and it's like, well, what did you expect? Like,
Or even being grilled. Like, remember one of our interviews, one of the ladies had talked about how she was wearing a certain band shirt, and some guy started grilling her about all the albums from that
like
band.
if she actually knew them.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
just wearing that shirt for fashion, you actually like the band
Right.
kind of thing. So even that stuff kind of comes up, and you're like, what
Yeah.
the hell?
Yeah.
We see a lot of people enjoy the show.
What
Yeah,
is
for the same
this?
reasons.
yeah. Anyway.
That's so weird. It's so weird. I guess they're trying to. I don't
Why?
know. Yeah, they need to show that they're more
Intimidation?
cool. I guess than I don't know, more
Maybe.
into the music scene.
I don't know.
It's weird.
Yeah, I found that really shocking. That this actually happens.
Yeah. Well, I think that hopefully that's what happens, right? Hopefully a lot of people will see it and be shocked. Well, I didn't know that. And maybe
Yeah.
even other friends of people in the documentary. Like I know some people you've interviewed, and I'm sure they're going to say things that, you know, I played shows with them.
Yeah.
Like, really? Like,
Yeah.
I was at that show. I didn't even know, right?
Yeah.
So it could happen for sure.
Yeah.
I was at a few weeks ago a screening for a documentary about the local scene called "If I Could Only Leave Here," and it was it just more broadly about the local scene, but there was a lot of kind of focus on people choosing to stay in Winnipeg versus leaving for Toronto or whatever.
Right.
And the reason I bring it up is because it was an unfinished film, and he was just trying to get people's reactions to it by
Yeah.
having a couple screenings at the Park Theatre, and the crowd was awesome. Like it was super supportive, and I think it's what you're saying about Winnipeg being really supportive. And this was a guy who I think it's his first film as well.
Yeah.
And everyone was just super pumped and giving me feedback and stuff like that. So hopefully you get the same reaction.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sort of what you
I
want,
want to
right?
see that now.
It's really cool, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know when he's releasing the finished product. There was a few like blank scenes and stuff where there'd be a
Okay.
couple seconds pause and then it would come back on. He hadn't
Yeah.
finished editing,
Yeah.
but I think he'd been working on it for like 5 years and wanted to just
Get it
get
out.
something out there. for
Yeah.
people.
Post.
Good things take time. Good
They-
things
they
take
do, right?
time.
No,
So
it
that's
feels so
kind of-
bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because so the people were asking like, why is it taking so long? Why is it taking so long?
Yeah.
Well, because there's actually a lot of information we're cramming into
Yeah.
an hour, and there's like tons of people that are involved with it. So
Not
there's-
to mention like keeping an eye out on shows to get the live footage.
Oh yeah.
which are actually few and far between. If you have a female guitarist in a band and you want new footage, you actually have to wait quite
Yeah.
a while.
Wait until they play a
because-
show.
Exactly.
Either
Yeah.
till they play a show or a new band comes
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
And it seems like there was kind of like a halt in the last year or so.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's like there are
think-
women in bands.
Sorry, yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think that has something to do with like the switching and closing down and opening up of venues. Like I think that has
Yeah.
a big thing to do
Yeah,
with
that
it.
happens too, yeah.
But you know the really good thing, like the fact that it took so long. The good thing is that like MTS didn't really hound us until basically now.
Okay.
Like at the very end, like they knew that like artists working with artists
Yeah.
is
Challenging.
It takes time, yeah.
it takes it's very
coordination.
yeah
A lot of
Sure.
coordination.
because you know
yeah.
like when you're artistic you're like I am anyway, I'm very like la la la
Oh, yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you need to have that creative process, and they understood that, and that was a really
That's
great
awesome,
thing.
yeah.
I think they would have let us kept going, but I think there's something to do with the switch over to Bellend.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why it was
wrapping up. They were calling it
that's what we're
orphans-
assuming anyway.
Right.
Orphans projects. Like it's not orphaned. It's coming.
Well, you don't want
It's
it to just get shoved off and
Yeah.
forgotten, yeah.
But it's also it's our baby. It's really important to us. We want to make sure that also like the message that was coming out was
Yeah.
said in the right way.
Sure.
That was like one of the most important parts. We don't want people thinking it's something that's not. I mean, like people are going to think what they think, but
Yeah.
we want to make sure that we're trying to convey the right message. So.
guess another general observation was that a lot of documentaries were kind of more on a dark, negative note.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
didn't want it to be that. Like, yeah, there's going to be your ups and downs, but we wanted to generally keep it on a positive, upbeat note, especially with all the fast music going on.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
you know, all the accomplishments that these women have.
Because it's kind of a negative topic too, right?
Right, the frustrations they've had.
Yeah,
but
so
Exactly.
but we wanted to make it into a positive thing to empower women,
Sure.
like ourselves, and for the future.
Cool. Well, I want my girls to see it. Like they got a drum set a couple weeks ago, so hopefully,
Bring them. So
wicked.
Yeah, hopefully
Bring
at some
them.
point they'll be.
There's a little foul language.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Maybe make one that
Earmuffs.
Maybe a few years later, like, find a copy. Hey, check this out.
Totally, yeah.
Do you think that? I mean, do you think that's something that not the little kids my kids' age, but maybe teenagers or whatever who are looking into starting bands? Do you think this might help? Sort of
Yeah,
be like,
so-
hey, wait, I'm not the only one out here.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was 15 or whatever, there'd be a few bands, and it would be like a girl playing bass, and that's it, and then everyone else is dudes. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that's still sort of what it is anyway, right? So,
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, is that kind of one of the goals to get sort of show women that there are other women
Yeah.
doing this?
Absolutely, and like the biggest reward would be if women leave and then go home and like start a band.
Yeah.
Then that would be like, yes, this is what
It works, yeah.
this is what we're trying to do, and show people that you can
then let
do
us
it.
know.
Even that there's
Yeah.
like a lot of positive men to share music with. Like a good majority of my bandmates are male, and they've never given me any grief. They've been more than accepting of any ideas, and they'll say even if I get us a show or something, like, you know what, you got us a show, you pick what order you want the set list to go on. Like more than respectful people, and I'm super thankful for that. So yeah, just showing, there's a lot of positive people out there in Winnipeg to work with.
Right.
I think it's really important that everyone knows that.
Do you expect any kind of negative backlash just from scumbags? Like,
Yeah, probably.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally prepared to just ignore it though. because
right.
Basically, if you're walking away with a negative idea in your head, then you completely miss the message.
Yeah.
Then you need to go back, and either watch it or just go.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can deny that these women are talking about their personal experience. So if you're angry at what they're saying, then you should be angry at the situation and not them, because
Right.
this is real life situations that happen. So, I think if you're frustrated by it, it should just be like a general frustration about the industry. And
Right, not with
everything.
the people who are featured in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
exactly.
people might not understand like the lifestyle of a musician.
Sure, yeah.
And staying up late playing shows every weekend, that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff won't be appealing to everybody, right? But again, you can't please everybody. This is what this is about, musicians.
Right, makes sense.
I think the right people will like it, and people don't like it, and I'm not too concerned about it. So.
Right. Not the target audience anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
They can go watch the dark movies or whatever.
I don't know. I just feel like it's I've watched it so many times already, and like not even like the rough drafts, and I feel it's so positive, and you leave feeling positive that like I don't know. So if somebody picks out the one thing that may be negative, it's
Right.
like, okay, you need to check yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Because all the women that we interview are just like they're just like they're characters on their own.
Totally.
Yeah.
And they're just
Yeah.
they have such big personalities, all
Yeah.
in like different ways,
Yeah.
and all very respectable women.
Yes.
And I think like that's who really makes the film are them, and just
Yeah.
their personalities, and like there is some humor in there because I think as a
Lots of
musician,
humor.
Yeah, well, from the trailer you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have to have a sense of humor if you're going to be a musician, and if you're going to be successful. I think that's something
Sure.
that's.
Or even if you're not, if you're going to be still plugging away once you hit past the age of 19 or something,
Yeah.
right? You have some kind of sense of humor about what you're doing. I think.
Yeah.
There's actually one clip I didn't include it though. I was thinking of including it, but we ask all the women like, what do you think you need to possess to be successful as a
Okay.
musician? And I think almost every person said you have to have thick skin. So I took like everyone saying it. You have to have thick skin, thick skin, thick skin. I like cut it all together. It's like 5 different people saying the exact
Wow,
same
that'd be
thing.
hilarious. You should put
Yeah.
that at the end or something.
A new trailer, a second trailer.
Yeah. Thick skin.
Was there anyone you wanted to talk to that didn't make, you just couldn't get for whatever reason, or they weren't available or couldn't do it? Or?
We're pretty happy with the way things turned out. I think the one thing that might be confusing for people is because we interviewed Debbie Wall, but that's because Margaret Fonseca was just, she's shy. She didn't
Right.
want to be on camera, and totally respect that. It's very intimidating being on camera. But she did help out with like giving me a ton of information, so I have
Cool.
a ton of Ruggedy Hands stuff.
And that goes back to an earlier generation
Yeah.
than most of what you have, right?
Mid-80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so she was still, even though she didn't do an interview, she had a huge contribution
Right.
to the film, so which is awesome because there was kind of like a history
Yeah.
portion of it. So to have her be able to give me like basically this era of ruggedy
for
and
sure.
stuff, yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Really
and then
cool.
to have
Yeah,
Debbie talk about like some of the Ruggedy Hands experiences.
Right.
So like it's all connected.
Yeah.
So
Cool. And I guess like that's one of the challenges of doing something that covers a fairly wide swath of time is that you have to go back and find somebody who has the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Someone who has that. Like that's I figure that's why I'm in it. Hoard records, but
your collection,
yeah. So
because I actually went to Manitoba Music to find like quiffs or
Yeah.
the Ache of Dragons, and they didn't have anything. Like
Oh, yeah.
they didn't have it in their collection, or at least it wasn't online. But you happen to have like a quiffs
I don't
album.
throw
I'm
anything
like,
out.
this is perfect. So I wouldn't have been able to find that
Yeah.
information, and I wouldn't have had that footage
Yeah.
had
Right.
you not had that. So
Right.
it worked out very well.
I'm glad I could be of some help.
It was very helpful.
Thank you.
So is this like once this? Well, first of all, when's the movie being released? When can people see it? There's an event. Is it a show? Is it a show?
What was it?
March 31st.
At the Park
Yeah.
Theater.
Park Theater.
Yeah.
You can
And-
buy your tickets online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or at the Park Theater itself.
Cool. And there's a show too, right? It's not
Yes,
just a,
yes.
So who's playing at the show?
There's going to be Slattern, which
Awesome.
is Julia Rickman,
Rickman,
and my band, Katie and the Wolves, and Jenny's band, Guilt Trip, and Silence Kid.
Awesome.
They're going to headline the show for us.
That's a really good lineup, actually.
Yeah, I was very happy with the lineup turned out.
Yeah.
And you can buy tickets for either one or the other or both.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
there's
so if you just want to see the show, you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We recommend both. Though it's a better deal, and you stay for the full experience.
Right.
And
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
definitely worth checking out the bands. And
Yeah.
I think Julia was the last one to come onto the bill, so I think that just kind of like rounded it all
Yeah.
out. And just I was very excited
Very
that,
excited
that
about
she
her.
said she would play. So
Well, shit, have you seen Slattern live? Have you seen her at the show?
I haven't seen
So
her
good, so
live,
good.
but I have seen like she has some videos on
Yeah,
YouTube,
it's
and
really it's a show. Like,
yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah.
yeah, she's gonna start the show like to kick off the
Oh,
night
nice.
for us. So yeah, I think
Nice.
that would be the perfect opening act. So.
And I guess that gives context to the movie too, right? Because you're seeing the people talking about what they go through, and then you hear some of them are on
Exactly.
on stage.
Yeah. I mean, like she doesn't necessarily play her bass in Slattern, but she
does
is a
sometimes.
she's a very successful artist, and
For sure, yeah.
and she's a very respectable person, and she did play in like this Hisses and
Yeah,
in a bunch of
ton of
bands.
bands, yeah, for sure.
So it is still fitting. So.
When the night comes, we wait for me. We burn upon my arm, mark a diamond mark of time, the mark of time.
After, once this is all done, once the people have seen it, you've heard the feedback, whatever people say about it, and wherever it goes from there, is this something you want to do more of? Like, now that you have had a taste for making a documentary, do you have any desire to make something else?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's tons of ideas already. So just gonna pick what's going to be the next one and kind of pick the order of it. So yeah.
And I guess that might not necessarily be the same because you don't know if you'll have MPS behind it on the next thing, but you still want to go ahead anyway. Like it's
oh, absolutely. With that money that they gave us, we invested in the gear so that we could continue to do it as long as we wanted. So it seems silly to. Because like I said, I wanted to learn film for so long, so it seems silly to go hire a film crew knowing full well, I could totally do this. I just need the opportunity to do it.
And equipment, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
they had recommended us rent the stuff, and we were like, well, that doesn't really make sense. Well, why don't we just
drive downtown?
Yeah, why don't we just buy it?
And when you're working with musicians, you can't really work on a rental time.
Yeah.
Because they might be on tour or something, right?
Yeah. So it's very hit and miss, and I'm I want to be able to pick that up and go if I have to.
Sure.
Be able to walk out the door with it and not have to rely on, is this in right now? Do I have to wait a week? And,
and then you have to use something crappy because that's all they have.
Yeah, and then you probably would have ended up with a whole bunch of technical complications, and just one or two cameras, learn them really well, and just learn how to use them, and everything's consistent then.
Or even just getting your random shots of B-roll of outside or the Winnipeg sign, that kind of stuff. You can just get up and go and do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, even if you don't have to do that.
Yeah,
for sure. So how long did the whole thing take? All told, how many hours did you put into this?
Oh,
Hours?
God.
Yeah. Well, let's go days maybe. There's 3 years. You said really.
3 years, but editing has been happening since June.
Oh yeah.
And I'm still just finishing up the second rough cut now.
Oh,
so
wow.
and that's all my work holiday time all went towards editing. So the majority of my holidays this year was editing the film and trying to piece everything together. And then you do a little bit, and then we have our message board, so post something, then have to get everyone's opinion. What do you think of this?
Okay.
And then it was a lot of back and forth and back and forth. And then here's one cut, get everyone's opinion, what should we change, and then go back and do that. And so it's quite a grueling process, but I love it. So I'll gladly put myself through it.
Awesome. Is the deadline looming now that you have a date for the release? I mean, are you still kind of frantically making last minute decisions on it, or
not
are you
really,
mostly
done? Not really frantic. Just tying up loose ends.
Yeah.
Essentially, hunting some people down. That's
It's been a challenge.
challenging trying to get a hold of them all of a sudden.
Right.
So
people who were in the movie.
Or even just people that did music videos too.
Okay.
Yeah.
because a lot of these musicians are very hardworking, and they did these beautiful music videos. So we want to be able to feature some of that work too, to show look at all the work that they've done. And this is you can see this is why they're successful, because they've invested and they've put a lot into their brand. And
right, it's not just someone in the basement running around with cool. But that's exciting. I mean, hopefully, I hope it does well for you, because it's a cool idea. And I mean, obviously, I think just doing this as an example, the idea of people just going out and doing some kind of DIY documentation of Winnipeg music scene is awesome, because there's so much crazy history and just ongoing that needs to be in some way kind of documented, because there could be kids 10 years from now who don't know any of the bands that are in your movie.
Yeah.
But if it's out there on the internet somewhere or in a physical form or whatever, they can go back and then go back again and find the albums and stuff.
Totally.
Well, I think some people will be really shocked at some of the history of female guitarists, because I don't think a lot of people even knew about half of the bands, and it actually took quite a bit of digging, and thank God for the Manitoba Music Museum, because they had a ton of information on there. So I'm actually really excited about that part, because a lot of people that have seen it so far are just I had no idea. I had no idea this was something that existed. I know, that's the whole point of this, to inform you, to educate you.
Did any of you find out anything particularly interesting that you had never even heard of before, whether it's a band or some kind of historical thing that happened here that sort of stands out as what?
I found the whole thing interesting.
Yeah.
I was just
the whole experience.
oh my God.
Especially some of the old venues, in the Ruggedy Ann's footage.
That is so cool.
Oh,
Where was that?
yeah.
When was this?
There
was
the really old stuff like that. I find it fascinating.
There was one that a gentleman, Dan Hamshet, I think that's his last name, that contributed. That was friends with Margaret, and he contributed a lot of footage that was, taken from VHS and
Oh, nice,
converted,
nice.
and it was like old footage from like old theaters that don't even exist anymore,
Yeah.
and these old shows from the 80s, and I'm like, that's super cool to see, because like these venues don't exist, but like just the difference in how like shows have progressed even,
Yeah.
and like that's how it was back in the 80s, and it doesn't seem like it's that far away, but
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things that I found really interesting personally was the fact that all these women that we spoke to, like, they articulated exactly what we were thinking.
Right.
And they said exactly what we wanted to say, but like we didn't really know how to say it at first or
Right.
whatever. And we're like, yes, you agree with us. You know.
Can you hear that in the background? You guys are like clapping.
Yeah, we're like, yeah.
we're trying really hard not to. Or we're just like
We were all like-
nodding our heads,
Yeah,
and we're like, we're not
yeah.
supposed to do this. Yes, you're saying it so well.
One of
High
some of
fives
my,
to the
Yeah.
Yeah.
some of my favorite moments were when they would say something absolutely hilarious. We're all just like holding back, trying not
yeah.
to.
Yeah, we're all
laugh.
silently
Just-
laughing.
This is on film.
Trying not to shake the camera because you're holding in your lap.
So
Yeah.
much fun to see, like, just to discover all the good senses of humor that are
Yeah.
involved in a lot of these women.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, can we just hang out?
Yeah.
When you can't do what I've been doing the whole time here, which is basically like, all right, oh yeah, cool, like,
Yeah.
because it's gonna ruin, if you edit it together, that's kills your
Exactly. Like, oh, you have to put that in there now. Like, what?
I guess like I'm excited to see it for sure, and I hope you have a really good turn for the show, because I think it's the kind of thing that a lot of people will be curious about.
Yeah.
Whether they've seen the trailer or not, just like, oh, documentary about women in the music scene. Well, check that out. Right? Was there? I mean, probably should have mentioned this earlier, but I guess the focus is more on heavy music, more on punk rock,
Yes.
that kind of thing. Was that? I mean, that was obviously deliberate, but what was the reason for just going super narrow on the subject matter like that?
I think it's most people's first reaction when you say a woman with a guitar.
Yeah.
They go, oh, a folk singer that sings folk music or what have you.
Or
an
acoustic guitar.
Coffee shop kind of
Yeah.
country
whatever.
singer, and they
Yeah.
sing these sweet songs because that's what women are expected to be sweet,
Right.
have a beautiful voice,
Right.
and it's not expected that you can have distortion or sing off key,
Or
and-
scream or-
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Playing an electric guitar with grit. And,
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
and that's also just the scene that we adore and that we like grew up in.
Yeah.
So it just is something to naturally gravitate to, and I think the women in this scene are under-recognized. So I mean, like, women in folk, like you can play huge shows like Folk Fest and what
Yeah.
have you, and underground there isn't as big as shows like that. So I think
Just for anyone, really.
Yeah.
For starters, right?
Yeah.
And I guess for women,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
even less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly,
But also
yeah.
to show that you can play. You don't have to play that music to be successful.
If you
can
don't
play
want to.
punk rock.
Yeah.
You can play
Yeah.
rock and roll if that
makes
if
you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you choose to take that path, and there are ways to become successful in it. So
Yeah.
And of course, there's nothing wrong with like female like folk
No, of course,
musicians
yeah.
or country whatever. Like, cause like like they're great in their own respect. It's just that we wanted to focus on these women who are a little bit more edgy and gritty and
Yeah.
badass.
yeah.
Well, I guess there's kind of a long history of that too, not just Winnipeg specifically, but
Yeah.
in punk rock, there's loads of women just kind of
Absolutely.
in bands you would think about it. It's like, oh, hey, but, the bass player's a woman, the drummer's a woman, or whatever. Some band that you've been listening to for years, and
Yeah.
unless you look at the liner notes, you don't even notice. So it's
I think there's something too about like the speed that the music's at.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah.
like a lot of like endurance that you need to learn.
Yeah.
So it's
For
just
sure.
kind of like watching some like female musicians like Pam McKenzie comes to mind. She was someone that
Right.
kind of inspired me when I first came out. Singing. It wasn't really like I was a guitarist and then a bassist, and
Yeah.
then just seeing how fast she was and how like loud the music was, and I felt like completely inspired by
sure,
that,
yeah.
more so than I would any other style of music. So
cool. So if people are the movie's not going to be out by the time this originally comes out. So if people are hearing about this the first time on here, what's the best thing for them to do? Where do they go to find out more information?
I would go to the Park Theatre,
Okay.
get your tickets, but we also have a Facebook page, and it has all the information on there. Girls with Guitars Film, I believe the Facebook page is. But I do recommend getting tickets as soon as you can, because it is rush seating. So
Right.
if you want to guarantee a spot, then I recommend
You
getting.
got to be standing in the back.
Yeah, exactly. And the venue can only seat 250 people.
Yeah.
And then once the film's over, we're going to move the chairs, and then we can let another 100 people in
For
if
the
they
show
want to come
part.
see the show.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then after the screening is done, you can see it if you have MTS. You can
Okay.
see it on their documentary Stories from Home.
Right.
There, and then after it's off of there, we'll be selling DVDs.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And I guess so. We also have the email girlswithguitarsfilm@gmail.com should anybody have any questions about anything. And we also do not have a definite date for when it's going to be on MTS yet, right?
Yeah, they haven't really given us.
They'll
those
probably
details
announce it, I
yet.
imagine, though, right?
I
Like,
think
don't they
so,
usually
yeah.
announce what they're... Yeah.
They're
They
probably
have
waiting
to-
until we're done.
Yeah, they need to approve our final
Excuse
cut,
me,
So
yeah.
but we're almost there. The date for that is February 1st. That we're going to have everything submitted to them.
Cool.
So
It's coming up soon, yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, people should check out the Facebook page, check out the trailer, which is online now.
Yeah.
And are there going to be any other trailers, or is that the one? Is there going to be like a trailer closer to
Yeah,
the
too much work.
Yeah,
Just the one
Just the
trailer.
one. Okay, cool.
And you can also check that out. MTS has their own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
MTS Stories from Home. I
Okay.
recommend you go check that one out because it makes us look really good if we have a lot of views.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Maybe
And they
they'll
also
fund-
have some like good documentaries on there as well.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, awesome. Do any of you have anything you want to plug for your respective musical projects? The next few months is coming up that you want to...
Do you want to go first? Or?
Guilt Trip is playing at the Doghouse, 176 Sutherland on February 17th with, so far I heard, Big Trouble in Little China and other bands to be announced.
Cool.
On the spot.
Other than that, there's some breaks happening. Your mom wants to work on a new album.
Her
Same
band,
with
Your
Guilt
Mom.
Trip.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry,
Your
I've got to be specific. I mean, your mom. Jokes never end. Yeah, Katie Lynn is going to be recording and whatnot.
Yeah, started recording in just before Christmas or
Cool.
just after Christmas. Laid down the drum track. So doing a little home recording, very like garage sounding and what have you. So I'm very excited about that because that's first ever solo album after.
Cool.
Yeah, actually since Quagmire, this is the first thing to go down to tape the next album. So it's been
Probably been a while, right? Yeah.
Years,
Did you just say to tape?
analog to That's what you call it.
That is what you call it. I still call it that.
I know, it's just funny. My husband always says it. He's like, "Oh, we should tape this." I'm like, "Tape? Like, what do you pull out the VHS?"
What?
That's how you should release it. You should put it on a VHS.
Rewind it.
Only way you can watch
Special
it.
edition, yeah.
Totally gonna do that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I still have a VCR. I'll bet you.
Yeah,
I'll buy a VHS.
absolutely. Yeah.
DVD VCR combo.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Those are awesome.
I love watching movies on VHS. You
Yeah.
have to rewind it.
The sound when it starts to slow down, when it's almost done
Starts to
rewinding,
mix.
is so satisfying.
Yeah.
Some people won't understand what we're talking about. It's totally cool. I've actually met some kids that are, like young teenagers, and they're like, "What is a VHS?"
Yeah.
They're asking that question now. It's
Well, they don't
scary.
even know what a cassette is.
I
either.
used to make
Yeah.
castles out of VHSs as a kid.
Oh,
I used to make dominoes with my tapes
Yeah.
and videos all over the house
Yeah.
and books and things. Yeah.
Totally.
Keepsakes.
Yeah. Anyway,
to be sure, yeah.
it's not coming on a VHS as far as I know. but
Yeah.
Does one of you just want to remind everyone about the date of the event and then the details of the event? March.
March 31st.
Yeah.
Park Theater.
At the Park Theater.
Get your tickets online at Park Theater.
Tickets are $15 for the screening and the bands, or $10 if you just want to see the screening, or $10 if you just want to see the bands. 4 bands playing.
Screenings at 7 p.m. Bands
Yeah.
are at 9.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a really great deal for $15.
Yeah,
You
it
get
is.
a movie and 4 bands. Like,
Yeah.
Come on.
Awesome, yeah.
And it's an all ages show.
Cool.
But just beware that the movie does have some foul language in it, but
Right.
it is an all ages show.
I just had to bring my kids, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, just give earmuffs,
Yeah.
Earmuffs.
Awesome.
Cover the ears when the bad words are coming.
Well, they're home when I listen to music, so I'm sure they've heard
Oh,
it.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Once it comes out, I'll definitely do something on the website, on our website about it, like post, whether it's a review or something, just because I really want to see it. So
Yeah.
excited.
Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, thanks again.
Thank you.
Everyone, check out the movie.
I wanna show you a good time, I just want to
Hey.